Well, hello again for another week, and it's really awesome to be able to introduce you today to a guy I've actually known for a very short period of time, but has made a huge impact into me. And this is Pip Scott Allen. So, Pip, come on in, buddy.
Hey,
How are
how are
you,
you?
champion?
I'm doing great. How are you, my friend?
Mate, I am doing awesome. Absolutely doing awesome. So, mate, I tell you, team building, mate. It's an interesting sort of space. So,
It,
tell me a little bit why. How do you actually get involved in team building?
I was asked this question earlier today as well, and I realized I've been doing it for over 17 years. I'm Canadian born, and in Canada, summer camps and camps are a big part of our culture. And from a young age, I just found myself attracted to the leadership programs. And through my young age, I started developing more and more of these programs with my guidance of some teachers. And I just saw the power behind them and what a team could achieve when they have the right direction and motivation. It's just an amazing space to be a part of.
Yeah, cool. So obviously we can pick it up in your voice there. So the Canadian background and summer camps and stuff like that. But mate, I've actually every time I actually introduce or get around you, you're always dressed in shorts, and it's the middle of winter here, mate. So I just want to tell you, you got to acclimatise to this Australian culture pretty soon.
I've been here 13 or 12 years or something like that, and I refuse. I'm wearing shorts and t-shirt right now still. I like the cold. I've been like I'm from a very cold place in Canada, and
Yeah,
I'm not going to do it. I refuse.
that's okay. So I've been ice hockey as well, mate.
Yes, I grew up playing hockey as a child. Haven't played in years, unfortunately. Still watch the games as much as possible and go check out the local teams when I can as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Mate, I'm an ex goaltender myself. When I used to play for Newcastle many years ago, back when I was a wee nipper. But it's a great sport, and yeah, that's very much a team sport as well. So
Mm.
very cool. All right, so what's I've got a great question. Isn't team building a waste of money? I hear this all the time. It's just a whole bunch of adults getting together and having some games. So tell me the real value in doing some team building stuff for the listeners out there.
Yeah, definitely. So, firstly, team building can be a waste of money if you're not using your tool properly. The way we like to do our team building programs is to really customize it to make sure that whatever you're doing is relevant to who you are and what you want to achieve. There's no point of going bowling if you're wanting to really develop, your problem solving and your communication and trust skills, because bowling itself is a very empty team activity. But if you find a program that really targets your skills, I like to consider it a lot like going to see a personal trainer. I'm weak in the legs, so what exercises can you give me that are going to strengthen my legs to make me stronger? And they're going to come with a program that's going to target that area of weakness. And that's how team building is done properly, by finding your team's area of weakness and poking that through fun and games to disarm you and to really address those areas you want to focus on, be it trust, problem solving, or to develop some leadership skills. But you got to make sure that it's targeting your areas of weakness. And that's how you get the return on your investments, by being open with whoever you work with and say, here's where I think we're not doing well. How can you help us improve these areas?
Oh, cool. So you touch on the return on investment. Yeah, that's a big thing that's happening very much in business these days. People are stopping to start say, "Oh, I want things cheap" or anything like that. It's really about a return on investment. So, what do you want to say about that sort of stuff?
Well, some simple studies have shown that the cost of replacing one person within your business can be between twenty to $60,000. That's how much you're losing by having to replace one person. I don't even know how many team building events I could offer you for that same amount of money. So if we can do one team building event, say $5,000 for 50 of your staff, and you have two people choose to stay when they're considering leaving, you've already made your money, and then like fivefold. So right then and there, you've saved a lot of money in the long run. That's where the return on investment comes in, when you're able to retain amazing people. You're not having to go out there and find someone to fill your ranks once again.
Yeah, cool. And so that really talking about the culture of your business, isn't it? That's really getting into the heart. And when you're actually starting this off, you're saying about the culture of your nationality of Canada and the summer camps. All right, is about creating this community and support network and collaboration. So I imagine, tell us a little bit about how that works within the business side of things, and how does that build culture?
Well, so touch on the kid camp aspect. In North America, when summer camps start, your staff have 1 week to train, learn all their skills, and then run your business for the next 8 weeks, which doesn't sound like much, but for many of the businesses, they only operate for 8 weeks of the year. So they have 7 days to get their team united to make all the money for the year. So they really focus on that culture aspect. And if you can dedicate a little bit of time in building your culture, when people start to really trust and respect one another, they will have each other's back. They will give each other positive reinforcement. They'll say, hey, I saw you struggling with something. Why don't you try it this way? Let's see if we can solve this problem together. Because it becomes a team success and everyone puts aside their individual goals, you start building a culture around unity and one common goal, which is the success of your business. So when we do things like this and focus on that culture developments, we put aside those ego-driven goals and focus on the business goal, but we're all in line working together with that.
Yeah, and the reality is we are all different. And so we're going to have different opinions or different ways to approach things, but that area of trust. So just unpack that maybe a little bit more for me when you talk about trust and what these team building exercises do to build that trust and that culture.
Definitely. So we always like doing our team events away from the office, so everyone naturally switches off, so don't worry about phones or emails in the background. And by doing that, it allows us to disarm the teams a little bit and help them start to connect on a more personal level. We don't want people sitting at their desk afraid of speaking up about a new idea or if they've made a mistake. Because if they don't trust the people around them, if they truly fear that someone's going to usurp them and try to backstab them and point out their shortcomings, you're not going to have the success overall. You're going to be very stagnant in your creativity. So by helping your team connect and truly trust one another, and have them not worried about being made fun of for a bad idea, especially there's no dumb ideas, whatever it might be. But by having them really trust each other, they're going to speak up. They're going to be more relaxed, and they're going to have creative thought process and be willing to share that with one another. And that's what drives businesses forward. So this is why it's really important to have a team that trusts one another and to trust that their leaders are going to do everything in their power that's in the team's best interest as well. People, animals, they're most afraid one of the times is when they're eating. And so people are very guarded in those times. So we want to get our teams to feel comfortable around one another, that they can actually share a meal, because that's often a sign that there's a lack of trust. If you get your team to sit down and relax and just enjoy a meal together, it's going to open up those lines of communication. They'll feel safer within the workplace. Stress levels go down. Health will naturally improve in that. And they see flow-on effects of reduced sick leave and reduced burnout.
Yeah, cool. And mate, I a bit relate to that whole idea of sitting down at a meal table, and it happens at my place with my kids. Like if there's one dessert on there, everybody wants to get their little piece of that, and it's if they actually just wait back and sit back, they'll all get their share. Mm-hmm. But it's when people get that individuality thing and go, I want to be first, or so
they're constantly on the defense. It's not about being on the defense. Yeah, we're all together.
Access. So team building. Who is it for? Is it for any size team, or is it best for bigger teams, small teams? Who is team building for? Tell us the main guts of that one.
Team building is truly for anyone, but in essence, I'd say team building is for a company that genuinely wants to retain and build powerful people. If you don't care about your staff, team building is not for you, because you just don't care. But if you truly care, want your business to grow and succeed, it's for you. We do events for teams as small as 4, because I know the importance of building a business, and to lose a key employee when you're very small can be devastating to your organization. Bigger companies are more commonly known for doing team events because they have the budget, although team building isn't necessarily all that expensive. Um, so teams of all sizes definitely should be doing it, and all companies need to be doing something to unite and develop their staff.
Yeah, cool. It's so important. I know that in building the transformational team, it's been like we've grown from a handful of people to quite a number. We're in the 30s and 40s, and growing on a weekly basis these days across multiple countries. Mm-hmm. So it's so I guess in this Zoom sort of space and the COVID space. Do you have to? Is it best to do it always online or always face to face? Just explain to what's the challenges. I know you just done one with a mousetrap or something or other. Tell me a little bit more about that one. That really tickled my fancy.
Yeah. So the first thing I think it's really important to understand is that there are team bonding events and team building events. So team bonding event, bowling, socializing. A lot of our online team events we're seeing in the market these days are a bonding event, more so get to know you, no real skill focus, where team building focuses on your key foundational skills. We ourselves have launched a hands-on online team event, which sounds contradictory. We actually post out kits to each and every single individual in the team. The one you're talking about is our Mousetrap race car program. So everyone gets a box. They cannot open it until we tell them to. But when they open it, they've got mousetraps, CDs, little pieces of wood, popsicle sticks, and a whole bunch of other things that they have to discuss and research on how to make an actual moving car. And you can use it with a shoelace and string and a mousetrap to actually drive a car forward using some little fun techniques. But the team that they're put into has to do this as one, and they need to build the exact same design through multiple people. The cool thing is everyone's physically involved in the process. They're all struggling at different points, but they have each other to lean on, and they all get to take away something and have it on their desk. And if they go back to work, be it lockdown or whatever it might be, they can actually show what they actually built. So it's a very different hands-on. And I find hands-on programs are much more beneficial because you can actually really target skills rather than focusing on trivia or any kind of click-through game where the creativity is not nearly as high.
Yeah, okay. So very much a difference between the bonding and building sort of philosophies and interchangeabilities and stuff like that. So
and team building has to have bonding as part of it. It's a crucial integral aspect of a team to have your team bonding with one another. But a lot of people do come up short or have grudges against team building because they played bubble soccer or they went axe throwing, and there's like, we did all these really cool things, but they're very empty in essence of what they were trying to achieve from those events.
Very much a difference, and since knowing you and hearing how you do it, a lot of the experiences, a lot of things we've had is about just going out there and having fun and doing the bonding part with no purpose. And I guess coming back to where you started in this little interview, is you've actually said this is your culture, all right, and it's a great culture. The summer camp culture that you've brought into this has driven your why through this. Will that be a good summary of what I'm saying here?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, building a strong culture around you that you can really rely on people, and knowing that everyone has your back and vice versa is really what drives me to helping my clients.
All right. So for hot seat, we always ask for that one hot tip at the end. So what's your hot tip for the people out there when we're talking about your why for business and or team building?
Definitely. So, well, I've mentioned before, my big goal is to literally drive myself out of business by helping teach people how to be good, empathetic leaders and building positive culture. But my number one tip is to not give up when it comes to changing your culture and making these changes. You need to, as a leader, truly live it before you enforce it. So what I mean by this is, if you want to change the culture within your workforce, I want you to give yourself 3 months at least of you doing whatever it is you've set out to do without telling anybody in your team, but I want you to live it and show your team, and then tell them 3 or 4 months down the line, because you've now given them social proof to believe that you actually care. Because if you walk in tomorrow and say, hey, we're all going to go start having lunch together, they're not going to believe you, because you've not spent that time to try to slowly bring that in subtly yourself. So persevere. It's going to take time, but just don't give up.
Fantastic. So we are here today with Pip. Pip, been amazing, mate. Premier Team Building. For those people listening on, you'll actually see some links come in a little bit down the track into the comment section. Please stick around. Come back next Tuesday. We've got some amazing people. Again, thank you, Pip, for that real insights into what the difference is between bonding and building. Let's build some amazing teams in life, eh?
That's it.
Thank you very much, Pip. Talk to you again soon, buddy.
My pleasure. Cheers.